this is Aidan's Toy Trove. This is part of our mail call series. This humongous box was shipped priority mail. One of the things that I wanted to point out was just how much this cost to ship. See, this cost $46.75. And part of the reason is this is a heavy box. It's a big box, and it shipped from Texas. So honestly, not that far. But the size of this box created a huge balloon charge for priority mail. And when you can't fit a horse, or I know this is 2 horses, into a cubic foot, which is 36 inches, which is the length plus the width plus the height, the post office has this ridiculous surcharge that they charge you for an oversized box, and it is physically cheaper to ship 2 boxes than 1 oversized box a lot of the time. Run it through the calculator, run it with the dimensions. Your other option is to ship parcel post, which does not have the priority box surcharge. So I almost feel kind of bad that this gal paid that much to ship, because that is just way too much for shipping. Okay, so inside here we have a bunch of horses wrapped in bubble wrap and foam, and I'm just going to take them out of there so that I can get this big box out of the way. Normally I like to see filler in the box. There was no filler in this box, but as far as I know, this was a not really a hobby person, so it's not something that I'd really expect from a non-hobby person to use popcorn. Most people view Breyers as toys, so that's just kind of what happens sometimes. And I did hear some rattling, I think, when I had this box. So let's just hope that nothing broke. And let's see here. I'm not missing anything in this box. Okay. One thing about priority mail is it does include insurance. So I believe there's a $50 insurance included when you ship at the post office, and if you make your label online, there is $100 of insurance. So keep that in mind. That's one of the upsides of shipping priority mail is free insurance. Right now I'm just trying to move some of these models off to the side, but I can't find room for them. So these I got off eBay from the very first model that there is this Buckshot. I believe his name is Shy Boy. No, it's not Shy Boy. Yeah, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's a pretty Grullia. This isn't normally a model that I would purchase. Excuse the taping sounds. I'm not going to try to save this bubble wrap. It's kind of small pieces, and it's got a lot of tape. So my goal is just to get the horses out of the wrapping safely. I believe these horses came from a collection where they were probably played with, so I'm not expecting perfection here. And again, they came from a non-collector, so to me, the way that they were packaged was just fine. I wasn't expecting live show quality, perfect models. Okay, so this is the the Grullia Buckshot, and wow, he actually stands pretty well, which is something that you don't see on the Buckshot mold a lot, because they're usually pretty darn tippy, but this guy, not bad. Pretty color. Someone should love to have this guy in their collection, I would think. Okay, so these 2 models are kind of taped together. She used some really burly packing tape here, which is actually kind of nice because it doesn't get stuck to everything. I know that sounds kind of weird, but in my experience, that's just how it is. And this one is the Sherman Morgan mold, and it is the Justin Morgan portrait model. He's the newer version of the Sherman Morgan mold, so he has been delumped prior, well, in the mold. and I personally think looks a lot better than the older version of Sherman Morgan, who was a bit bumpy. And I will show that to you just as soon as I get this guy out of his wrapping. You probably noticed a big shift in light. I'm splicing this video together while I was making the original video. My friend called, and I got to talking to her for quite some time. So I started the video in the morning, and now I'm ending it in the evening when there is, as you can maybe see how it's all dark outside. Okay, so this is Justin Morgan on the Sherman Morgan mold, and these guys are in a bit rougher condition than I had anticipated, but you know, that's a risk that you take with eBay and non-collectors. Again, I wasn't expecting perfection. So, as you can see, his body is nice and smooth. The original Sherman Morgan mold is a little bumpy, kind of like John Henry, who has also been smoothed out. And I should do a video on that when I get some of the older models, and so I can show you the difference. The other thing is he has a new tail. The older mold had this kind of thin, sort of just this cylinder tail that ended in a point. So this new tail, in my opinion, is much nicer. And since he stands fairly sturdily, even though the buckshot was standing sturdily, I laid the buckshot down on there on the bench on bubble wrap, just because I could totally see him in my head going on over. And this is the Andalusian mold. And for those of you that also make YouTube videos, I've been having a bit of a problem editing videos since the YouTube editor went away. One of the main things that people have told me is that I'm hard to hear in the video, so I went ahead and I used the YouTube editor to bring up the volume, and now that is no longer an option. So I have this free software that I downloaded, but I'm still struggling to use. So if you guys have any recommendations on video editing software that's free, please let me know. I would love, love, love to have Adobe Premiere, but that's just not in the budget, and quite frankly, it's way, way, way more program or software than I need. So this guy is, I think this is Templado. I always get all the white Andalusians mixed up. This is the not BreyerFest special one. Andalusian stallion mold, sculpted by Kathleen Moody. He is a pearly gray, so he has a beautiful pearl color to him. I can see he has either dirt in his tail or overspray, but I'm going to wash all these horses up because they look like they could definitely use a cleaning. He's very pretty. He has a brand on his right hip, and then his underside is signed by, gosh, I don't know who, but I believe that is a factory signature, meaning that it wasn't signed by the actual person, but was probably a replication of the signature done by Breyer. Okay, so here we have a mystery horse. Mystery horse. So this sounds kind of silly, but I'm actually really happy that this wrapping can go straight into recycling, because the house is a mess and I'm constantly struggling to try to find places to put all the wrapping, and I really need to just stop hoarding it. And when the wrapping is not super nice, it's much easier for me to just put it straight into the recycling bin. I don't know about where you guys are, but here in California, they're not allowed to give out plastic bags for free at the grocery stores or Walmart or stores like that anymore. So I used to use those bags quite a bit when packing horses. I could use it as filler, and I could use them as temporary wrapping. Like when we picked up large collections, some of the cheaper end models I was able to just put into the plastic bags. Sometimes I'd double bag them, and they would transport okay just in the car like that. So this guy is a maestoso, maybe? He was from gosh, Robert Verde, I don't remember his name, but hopefully you guys know who I'm talking about. He did some beautiful, wonderful photography, and I think this horse might have even come with a DVD originally. He came with this red garland of roses too around his neck. Super handsome guy. So this is the Legionnaire mold, and he is a white gray with gray shading. He has a lot more shading than you see on the original release of Legionnaire, and he also does not have the brand, and he has some pearliness to his coat. I'm not sure if this is coming across in the videos, but these models I would say are mildly yellowed, so I'm going to give them some reptile light bath time. I have an aquarium set up under my photo tent because, well, I just don't have a lot of space in the house, and I can use that in the winter time for whitening models. It's wonderful. We don't get a lot of sun here, believe it or not. I live on in Crescent City, California, which is on the border of Oregon and California. Like literally 15 minutes north brings you to Oregon. So we don't have very California-like weather here. It's kind of cold. We don't get the heat that other parts of California do. So when it's 70, we think it's hot. But my point was, there is a very, very short period of time when I can put the models outside to naturally whiten in the sunlight. I know I've touched on this before in other videos, but if you haven't heard or seen any of those videos, there is a fire retardant in Breyer's plastic that tends to yellow. What happens is the molecules move around, and the fire retardant has a slightly yellow color, and it comes to the surface, which brings up just some real mild yellowing in these models. There is also a different kind of yellowing, which is caused by smoke or excessive exposure to the sun, or maybe other chemicals, oils, and that's not as easily reversed, but just this real typical light yellowing when I have found responds well to sunlight, and it's the UVB ray in the sun that starts reversing the process, moves the molecules around, and spreads out the fire retardant, so it whitens your model. So if you have a yellow model, do try putting it in sunlight, or if you have a UVB bulb, you can use a UVB bulb, or just a standard light bulb is not going to work because it will not have the UVB rays. The reptile bulbs have UVB, and the type of bulbs used for what is it, SAD, that seasonal disorder that people can get, like in Alaska, where there is long periods where you don't have sunlight. I believe that also has UVB in it too. So this is Huckleberry Bay. He doesn't have a stand, so I'll have to find a stand for him. This is one model that I actually I have personally seen come in with yellowing on his socks very often, and this one's actually pretty white, so that's nice. As you can see, this guy, you can see his stand broke off in the bottom of his hoof there. It is one of those plastic disc stands that I hate, and he did not come with it, but you can see the peg is in the bottom of his hoof, and there are multiple methods to getting that peg out. My favorite method, when it works, is to take a pair of pliers and then hold a needle with the pair of pliers, and then heat that needle up with a heat gun until it's nice and hot, and then just pierce that little peg in the hoof, and then allow time for the needle to cool. And if you're lucky, the plastic will contract when it has cooled, and it will kind of clamp itself onto the needle, and when you pull the needle out, the little peg comes with it. That does not always work, but that is my first and favorite method for getting those pegs out. And sometimes if you can just get that peg out even just a little bit, then you can grab it with a pair of tweezers or a pair of pliers and get it out. but there have been times also when that just has not worked either, and I have resorted to having to drill it out of the foot, which will typically result in you having to use a different stand than Breyer's because the hole will be too big and the model will be loose on the base. But in general, overall, I do not like Breyer's acrylic or plastic. They're not even acrylic, plastic bases, because it is so very common for them to break. And I've had them break, just the horse standing there chilling in my glass cabinet. All of a sudden topples over because that silly little peg broke. Now you can ask Breyer for a replacement stand, and they're kind of hit or miss as far as I don't know if it's their workload or who picks up your email or whatever. My favorite, Kirsten Chalupa, retired, so she was my go-to lady for stands and anything that I needed help for from Breyer, but she's now gone, so I don't really have a direct contact with Breyer, and I have been communicating with them through the website, just going straight to customer service. And I highly recommend an aftermarket stand that is made with a metal peg. There are a variety of resin bases out there that have metal pegs in them, and they also encompass, well, not all of them, but some of them also hold the horse's other hooves, so it's a lot more stable. And you could also get them just in disc form, and just them having the metal peg makes life so much easier. You don't have to worry about the peg breaking off in the horse's hoof. This is Flash. The two little Palomino twin Morgan foals. I don't know if they had a name. I think this Palomino stock horse mare was part of the Picture Perfect series, but I'm not 100% positive. So this is the last horse in the box. Goody goody. There are some, oh, here we go. The Legionnaire was Majested. This is the little information card from the back of the box. And then here is the information card from Huckleberry Bay. And this last little guy, I'm actually not sure why I got this one. I don't think that this is one that I wasn't anticipating, so I need to look back at my text messages and see what's going on, because I told her I wanted the traditional models, and then she sent me pictures, and I pointed out the traditional models, and this was not one that I wanted. So hopefully there's just a little bonus or something and somebody else isn't expecting to receive it. It looks like the classic Rojo mold from the Mustang series, the little grazing Mustang. Cute. I'm gonna have to go back through my texts and make sure that I got all the models that I paid for. And yeah, that's about it. Glad to get these guys unwrapped, and I am going to do some cleanup, and I'm going to put this packing straight into recycling, which is going to be super nice. Even the box can be recycled, so I won't have it hanging around the house. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So I will yak at you later. Thanks so much for watching.